morning. I hope everybody that listens is keeping well. Today I got out of the house before sunrise. It was still dark, public illumination was still on. I like these moments. There's this cold breeze in the air, which is extremely relieving. It's been very, very hot in these past weeks. I can see, like yesterday, we have some clouds, which is great. I hope temperatures go down. They will go down eventually. I mean, I've noticed days are getting smaller, which means the sun is getting a bit more distant from this area. It's now getting closer to the tropics, um, and eventually it will go to the southern tropics, right? So they can experience summer and we experience winter. I used to get out of the house around 5:30. Today I had to wait until 6 and a quarter to get out of the house. So the other day I was talking to someone. My bad. I suppose I don't know. I was feeling a little bit more you know that way, and they were like, "Oh, why don't you get a girlfriend?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it." And they're like, "Oh, it's okay, but you know when you are loaded, you know what I mean? When you're loaded for weeks, you kind of you know become magnetic and." And they were like, "Ah, why don't you get a girlfriend?" And I was like, uh, I enjoy peace above else. I enjoy peace. I enjoy honor, humility. You know, it's basic things, and I'm very comfortable with the life I have, and it's just impossible to talk to people. They have, their own hell, and they love it, and they will not compromise their hell to live with someone else nowadays. It's my way or the highway. You see, people don't understand that coming together, love is not that feeling that those butterflies that no, that's not love, that's temporary. Love is the decision that you make every day, almost like a sacrifice that you're going to honor and be faithful to that person. It's a decision, it's a hard work, that it's a set of small decisions you have to do every day to honor the couple. It's nothing to do with the butterflies, and people don't understand that anymore. And it's impossible, honestly, to be around people. So they will understand it the hard way. Yes, they will understand it the hard way someday. And we are already seeing it because people don't understand each other anymore. Demographics is collapsing because they voted for it, honestly, ever since the men and women, because at the same time it was around the same time, there was like a 10-year difference that we got the right to vote. Because in the 200 years ago, it's only the elite that's had a voice in the matter, and the working classes the lower of the lowest, start voting. Men, the head of the family, and then women 10 years later got the vote. And once they got the vote, they only wanted what they give these euphemisms, reproductive rights. They want to control the birth. They don't want to be constantly taking care of babies. And then you question yourselves, and who actually is a better parent? Who actually wants a family? Who actually likes and wants children? Because honestly, I don't think it's most of the other gender. I mean, they don't want to be shackled you know, especially when you are vigorous, full of vitality. They want the party to travel, they want to do it all. And when they want to settle when they are, I don't know, 35. But that's a bit too late to settle, and very difficult to get pregnant. And anyway, I mean, I couldn't care less. I mean, do whatever you want, whatever works for you, but then don't come out and start complaining. There are changes happening in the world. When, nature is always seeking balance. If in one side something is missing, nature will compensate. Yeah. If people disappear, nature will take over, will replace you with something else. It's very straightforward. And if people now are focused on career and getting another promotion and couldn't care less, I mean, someone else in your behalf will take care of the next generations. And you know what? It's not going to be your culture. It's going to be someone else's culture. And a lot of people are pissed about it. You know, oh, because they don't want to integrate, because they don't want. Yeah, yeah, they know. They want and have their reasons. Clearly, your way of living is not working. You are leading, that part of the world into extinction. So someone else has to do it. And with reason, they don't want to integrate. With reason. I mean, look at the other side of the, argument. I hear people from all over the world, not just the West. And I've noticed the West tendency and the West, way of thinking is uh, is the majority because the internet speaks English, and everybody, seems to be on the same boat, but not all. There are those who are more traditional. They are more, faithful to their traditions, and they are able to bring a more, critical point of view. And they all say this way of behaving is very, very decadent. When you start early on, focusing on career, when you quit school, you already had, years and years of birth control. You already, danced with countless people, countless different people. There's an explosion of venereal diseases and obesity and diabetes. I mean, these are the diseases of. Sometimes I say to myself, this is what royalty used to suffer from. In the West, we've become so comfortable, so opulent in our lifestyle that even the common, blue collar, worker has access to comfort that not even kings of the past had. And they are suffering from the same illnesses, gout in their feet. They have, digestive issues. They are obese. They have diabetes, and they have hard time conceiving. Have a hard time with, you know, giving birth, and that's the same illnesses of the royals of the past. So anyway, uh, and the venereal diseases. Um, so cultures, they are still very traditional and faithful to, their tribe. They look at the West and they see this decadent thing, just zombie-like, you know, going about. Sooner or later, it's gonna collapse under its own filth. Under its own filth. It's not gonna work. It cannot work. So I'm in favor of migrations, not because I'm worried about the Ponzi scheme that we call retirement. There has to be a certain number of active people working for the system so that, old people can have a retirement. That's why they opened the borders, GDP, and the Ponzi scheme that we call retirement. Not just that, but there's people, you know, hoping for a better future. And there was this interview. It was made here where I live. There was these Southern American people, really honest people. They spoke Spanish, so it's easy for us to understand. And they were like, "How do you, fare? How are you settling? Do you like the living? Do you like the salary? What's it like?" And they were like, "We honestly don't care about money. Clearly is enough for living, but what I wanted was peace. I wanted the ability to get out to the street without being kidnapped, ripped off, um, um, or raped or whatever, if in the case of women, and get my groceries, do my thing, and go back home, and my children could play outside and go to the school, and not go through shots, gunshots and violence and whatever. We just wanted peace, and that's why they moved. You know, that's a lot of people like that. Recently, because everybody has a 4K camera in their pockets, right? Someone was chilling at some beach, and they filmed people arriving in these fisherman boats. I didn't see an engine. I think it was one of those manual fishing boats, with an otter. People have to do it manually, and they crossed Gibraltar from Africa. They crossed the Strait of Gibraltar, and I suppose they wanted to land in Spain. Either they couldn't, or the current just pushed them, and they arrived in Portugal. And the public, the usual idiots, the talkheads of the mainstream, they just were all of them were having this brain aneurysma about this. Everybody has an opinion, oh, because of this, oh, because of that. And they are just reacting in the emotional, turmoil of the moment, but none of them, you know, said anything about solutions. Solution? No, nobody has a solution. I mean, if they were willing to put their lives in line, to do such a thing, I mean, I don't know. Maybe we should listen to them. Yeah, maybe we should listen to them. Anyway, I'm in favor of migrations as long as everything is done, legally. Well, because criminals, right? Because criminals. Yeah, that is the thing. There will always be criminals and grifters. When you have a welfare state in which everybody puts something in, everybody has to work, no exceptions. Everybody has to give their fair share of and if the slackers, the grifters, outnumber the people who are offering it, it will not work. It will collapse. Eventually, they will run out of money, and it will collapse. That's why most socialist societies collapse. They run out of someone else's money. Yeah, they don't generate wealth. They don't originate anything. They just grift. They just take, and eventually, oh, we are so humanitarian. But eventually, when money runs out, party's over, and everybody has to go and work again. It's like a mind virus. To be honest. Anyway, I've been talking for 15 minutes. I think I'm gonna shut up now. Have a nice day.